Objectivists claim most automatic emotional responses are based on early conclusions we come to subconsciously or consciously, could be consciously. How do they know this is? How do they know it's not hardwired, automatized genetic response to stimuli? Well, I mean, you can run a simple experiment. You can take two different people with two completely different contexts of knowledge, different conclusions, different values, different conclusions they've come to in life, and show them exactly the same thing. Tell them exactly the same story. And they will both respond emotionally completely differently based on what they're bringing to hearing the story or seeing the image. I mean, Leonard Peikoff uses one of the best examples ever in OPA. I just read it, right? He says, they put up on a screen an image taken from a slide, a cross-cut of some tissue. So it's got blotches, like cells, and you know what it looks like, blotches of stuff, right? And you bring in 6 different people to look at this slide, right? The first one is somebody you've just plunked out of the jungle of the Amazon, knows nothing, and he looks at it, and it means nothing to him. Just blotches of stuff, and it's just nothing, right? You bring somebody else who's, an artist, and knows nothing about the world except art, and he looks at it, and he let's say he's even a good artist, he's a realist artist, and you look at it and he says, this is like some crummy Kandinsky painting. This is terrible. This is not objective art. Get this out of here. I hate this. And he has a negative response. Or you bring somebody in who's a scientist who sees in the slide the solution to a problem he's been working on for 20 years. And he is elated. And you bring into the place a patient who, for him, the slide represents the identification of a deadly disease that he will probably not recover from. And he feels depressed, right? So your emotions are not just an automatic response to the stimuli. Your emotions are a direct response to the identification based on your context of knowledge of what's on the slide and what value significance that has to you. Is it a threat? Is it a good thing? Is it something to be celebrated? Is it something to fear? Is it something to embrace? Is it something to run away from? So you can test this. You can see that people respond to different artwork. People respond to different stories in the media. People respond to Biden. People respond to the war in Afghanistan in very different ways. And that you can predict how they will respond to it emotionally based on what ideas they hold, based on what ideas they've automatized. So it's from the facts of reality, from the evidence that you have, you come to this conclusion.
And to begin with, I wonder if I can ask you to capsulize, I know this is difficult, can I ask you to capsulize your philosophy? What is Randism?
First of all, I do not call it Randism, and I don't like that name. I call it Objectivism.
All right.
Meaning a philosophy based on objective reality. Now let me explain it as briefly as I can. First, my philosophy is based on the concept that reality exists as an objective absolute, that man's mind, reason, is his means of perceiving it, and that man needs a rational morality. I am primarily the creator of a new code of morality which has so far been believed impossible, namely a morality not based on faith.
On faith?
Not on faith, not on arbitrary whim, not on emotion, not on arbitrary edict, mystical or social, but on reason, a morality which can be proved by means of logic, which can be demonstrated to be true and necessary.
All right. All right.
Now, may I define what my morality is?
All right.
Because this is merely an introduction. My morality is based on man's life as a standard of value. And since man's mind is his basic means of survival, I hold that if man wants to live on earth and to live as a human being, he has to hold reason as an absolute, by which I mean that he has to hold reason as his only guide to action, and that he must live by the independent judgment of his own mind, that his highest moral purpose is the achievement of his own happiness, and that he must not force other people, nor accept their right to force him, that each man must live as an end in himself and follow his own rational self-interest.
May I?
All right, before we go on, reminder, please like the show. We've got 163 live listeners right now, 30 likes. That should be at least 100. I figure at least 100 of you actually like the show. Maybe there are like 60 of the Matthews out there who hate it. But at least the people who are liking it, you know, I want to see a thumbs up. There you go. Start liking it. I want to see that go to 100. All it takes is a click of a thing, whether you're looking at this. And you know, the likes matter. It's not an issue of my ego. It's an issue of the algorithm. The more you like something, the more the algorithm likes it. So, you know, and if you don't like the show, give it a thumbs down. Let's see your actual views being reflected in the likes. But if you like it, don't just sit there. Help get the show promoted. Of course, you should also share. And you can support the show at JeronBrookShow.com/support, or on Patreon or Subscribestar or Locals, and show your support for the work, for the value hopefully you're receiving from this. And of course, don't forget, if you're not a subscriber, even if you just come here to troll, or even if you're here like Matthew to defend Marx, then you should subscribe, because that way you'll know when to show up. You'll know what shows are on, when they're on. You'll get notified, right? So, yes, like, share, subscribe, support. Like, share, subscribe, support. There you go. Easy. Do one or all of those, please.